Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Dadsigner podcast. I'm Michael Smith, your host, and today I'm joined by Ernie Zielsdorf. Hey, Ernie, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Ernie is better known online as Lightning and Arrows, but why don't you tell folks a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and a bit about your family?
So I um, grew up in Ventura, California, it's in Southern California, and now live at Hume Lake, which is kind of in the Sequoias. I work at a camp, kind of oversee some retail stores up there at the camp, and yeah, married, have a wife, Morgan, and two kids, Forrest and Penny. Forrest is 7 years old, Penny's 2 years old. Yeah, that's kind of the gist of it.
Very cool. I love those names too.
Thanks.
Um, Yeah, and tell us a little bit about lightnings and arrows and what you do with that. And then we'll dig into a little bit. I have some questions about the style and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, sounds good. Um, So yeah, lightning arrows is kind of just my pet project. I'm just kind of doing with it whatever I want to do, basically. Kind of was born out of just working for other people, which I've kind of always done, and I um, kind of am continuing to do. But I always have that side kind of outlet that I kind of work on art and make products and different things through lighting arrows, and just kind of lean into that and have some fun with it when in my free time because sure, like a lot of people, doing design and all that on the side is part of the fun too, so
Yeah. Yeah. I was digging through, I have a pile of stickers on my desk still from Creative South. And so I was looking for some of the
Oh,
ones
yeah.
that you had given me, and this was one of them. Um, and yeah, like the talk a little bit about your style. It's kind of illustrative, and there's a lot of like drippiness on stuff that you've created.
For
But
sure.
yeah, how have you developed that over time? And yeah, what drew you to that style?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like all designers, I kinda grew up drawing, just wanted to be an artist when I grew up, and that was kinda like always what I talked about, and then, um, I kinda as I grew up, I actually, my mom kinda like pushed me towards design, and I didn't even really know what it was early on, and kinda started digging in, and I was like, "This is actually pretty cool," and so, when I got into college, I started learning more about it and leaning into that. And I honestly never like really considered myself much of an illustrator um, until like I sort of realized like whenever I do that stuff on the side for fun with like my lightning arrow stuff, I kind of lean into the illustration stuff a little bit more and kind of like mix that in there a lot. And so that's been kind of fun, almost as like a side to doing that stuff, just kind of like learning that about myself. But when I first, like, was digging in, like, learning how to draw on an iPad and stuff like that, um, the drip stuff is kinda, like, where I started. I just was like, yeah, it's always kinda been, like, a thing that I kinda, like, doodle, and so that's one of those things, and, like, I feel like there's some, like, core things that I just kinda lean into at times where it's, like, drawing drips or, like, wood or whatever it is, and, like, there's kinda, like, some go-to stuff that I, like, really enjoy kinda playing around with.
Yeah, and do you predominantly do all of your artwork on an iPad for
Pretty
that
much.
kind of stuff?
I'm like a mix of iPad and then Illustrator,
Nice.
basically, and that's kind of the core of what I use. And I use Fresco on the iPad. I just love that you can do vector in there and then just like bring it straight in and start working on it. So
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah,
That is cool. And then I've seen, obviously you have stickers, I've seen other stuff that you've created. Do you sell this stuff at like markets or fairs or anything like that? Or is it just kind of like you make them and give them to friends and sell what you can? Or what is your process there?
yeah. Honestly, I love products. I'm like a collector for sure. And I love collecting other people's stuff too, for sure. And so then that's kind of like a natural thing for me that kind of comes out of doing art. I'm like, what can I make with this? And so I feel like everything I make, I'm kind of have that in the back of my mind. Whether it's like you said, whether it's to sell something or just to make it for fun. Stickers is like definitely my like it's like the easy first shot of like I can at least make a sticker and then after that, it's like, all right, what else can I do with this stuff? So I think, like I'm always kind of like up for that. I do definitely do markets and things like that. I'm trying to like get into that a little bit more. Kind of lately, I've been trying to ramp up some different products and things like that, just to kind of um, update my shop and things like that, and just have more stuff to offer. Um, but selfishly, just for me, I love like making that stuff and kind of seeing it come to life. Like I think everyone enjoys that, just kind of seeing your stuff out there in the wild. And so I really enjoy making it. And so then sometimes that's giving things out and hand out stickers or whatever. And then sometimes that's like trying to push things at markets and things like that. So for sure, it's a mix of both.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it sounds like you have a pretty good feel for good vendors. So, like, for the designer out there that's like, all right, I want to switch my sticker vendor, or they want to find a solid sticker vendor or hat vendor or shirt vendor. Do you have top picks that aren't secret to you?
Yeah, for sure. I honestly, I kind of like go all over the place with some of the stuff. Um, I recently did some shirts with cast iron, and they have some pretty good stuff, and they like, it's really fun to work with them. I just kind of have started dabbling with them, and that's awesome. Lately, I've been printing stickers with Wizarco. Trevor over at Wizarco is awesome. He loves like the art community, and he just like takes care of the people that he works with, and so that's like super cool. Um, and yeah, there's definitely, I don't know, some of it's just like I found this thing and it was cheap, and so I gave it a shot, and like those things. Um, but those couple that I just shared are like some cool like connections that I feel like I've made and have really enjoyed kind of working with them. So
Yeah, that's cool.
definitely plan on doing that more for sure too.
Nice. And you said you have a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old. Have you 6 or 7?
7.
7. I just said those numbers in a row. 7-year-old. And have you began to like engage with them with art and stuff like that, drawn on the iPad and whatnot?
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of funny because like when I pull out my iPad or computer, one of them is either sitting in my lap trying to do it with me, or like my son Forrest, he'll be like, if I pull my iPad and start drawing, half the time he's like, "Can I draw something on there?" And so it's like, "All right, I guess I won't draw, and you go ahead and take over." So it's actually been, it's just funny because it kind of interrupts the flow for me, but it's been like actually pretty cool seeing that interest that he has, and um, he loves drawing, even just like not on the iPad or anything, but just he's lately been like doing that a ton, which is like super cool for me to kind of see that and kind of do it with him at times for sure.
Yeah. Have you noticed that he picks up any of the styling or content of the things that you draw?
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of funny. Like, there's definitely stuff at times where it's like, you did not just like start drawing drippy stuff. Like, you got that from me, I'm sure. But yeah, there's definitely he'll draw like some random monsters or drippy stuff or whatever, and I'm like, all right, you're kind of like riffing off of my stuff, and but then it's like funny because that stuff then will inspire me, and I'll kind of like be like, oh, dude, I'm gonna do something with that too, because um, I honestly have a hard time with like anything that like my kids draw. I'm like snapping a photo of it, and I'm like, dude, I'm gonna do something with this. This is so cool, and like I'm like definitely super inspired by them. So it's kind of this cool like back and forth between like them being inspired by me and then me being inspired after they start drawing their stuff. And so even
Yeah.
Penny, my daughter, will she'll just sit there and draw like a whole page of like these little like scribble circle things, and by the end of it, I'm like, dude, this is kind of like cool. Like I could make like a pretty fun pattern out of this or whatever, and like I definitely like love seeing that stuff from them. So
Yeah, that's cool. There's a friend of ours that I don't remember how old his kid was, but the prompt was like to draw a blue jay or something. And my friend he's an illustrator, he's sweet style and like really talented artist. So he draws, this beautiful in our minds and eyes, like this beautiful blue jay and all this stuff. And his kid draws this blue jay that he had like the drawing still, and he's like, this is probably the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And it was like it was such an abstract, awesome drawing of a blue jay in the most childish, like non-awesome way.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes he was just like, this just re-taught me how to draw, because like I have this idea in my mind of like what a blue jay is, and like the kid captured the movement and color of like a blue jay in motion, and just just wild, just really cool, the inspiration
I
to
know.
draw from them.
I do love that innocence of like a kid drawing. It's like it's not gonna look perfect. It's not gonna be like the most realistic looking thing, but like I honestly myself am not interested in drawing the most realistic thing either. And so like I kind of love seeing like what like a kid's mind comes up with.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And speaking of drawing, one of the things you mentioned was you participate in Inktober. What did you do it last year? Well, now, yeah, it's beginning of 26. So did you do it last fall? And if so, what was your theme?
Yeah, so this past October I kind of mixed like a bunch of stuff together. Like I've gotten to the point like I used to like be like strict on like all right, I'm following the Inktober rules and drawing with like a
Yeah.
pen and all this stuff. But like the last few times I've done it, I've kind of just like this year I mostly did like actually Stinktober from Chris Piasek and season of the Bad Guys Club. And like I kind of like smashed those together and like pulled my favorite prompts from both lists. And I think I mixed in a few other stuff too. But um, I I've definitely gotten to the point where I'm like I just want to do like some fun stuff, and I just started drawing it on my iPad because I'm like I want to just have this thing like ready to go. Like I said, my mind's always kind of like on what can I do with this after the fact. Um, I used to do Inktober like with like a pen and paper and stuff, and then I'd be at the end of it with like a stack of papers and be like, all right, that was fun, but like now it's done. But then I love being able to like have like just some assets to like play with after the fact. And so like I've really enjoyed doing that digitally kind of the last few years and just kind of playing around with this stuff after the fact and being like, all right, what can I use now to like make some stickers or make this or that or whatever it is. So it's been kind of fun like seeing that like transform over the years. And I haven't done it like every year, like without fail, but um I definitely like this year I wasn't even planning on doing it. And then I saw someone post about it and literally on October 1st was like, all right, I'm doing it. I'm committing. And this is the first year that I actually like finished the whole entire thing, like and actually posted every day and everything. So
That's
it's
cool.
definitely always like a grind getting through that stuff, but it's a lot of fun. And like I feel like the rest of the year I'm always like kind of like searching for that same feeling of like just like the accomplishment that you get after like um just actually doing that like every day and just kind of like building that like kind of little portfolio of the month or whatever. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
I super enjoy that.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you somehow bring your kids into it this year?
Um, I I mean, sort of. I definitely was like I was posting kind of on my stories a bit with that stuff. They they were like I'd start drawing kind of like I said earlier. It's like I start drawing and then they're just suddenly like swarming the area. And so I'd be like sitting like drawing one of the prompts and my daughter comes and sits in my lap or whatever. Like, and so it definitely like I'm just like surrounded, kind of like, okay, let me reach over you and like see if I can keep doing this. And but even aside from that, honestly, it was kind of cool because like I had my kids and then we visited some family, and so like even like I had some nieces, my niece and nephews and stuff that I it was kind of like a whole like family affair sort of thing. Like everyone would just like be like sitting around watching me draw, and then they're like, "You should do this, you should do that." Like, and so it's actually like super fun, just like involving them. Like even if they aren't drawing, like they're just sitting there like enjoying the process and like watching it and stuff. So I ended up like for one of them, I used my actually for a few, I did use my like my kids or like my nephew or like just some different things as like my kind of like my model, and then I kind of use them as like my reference point to like draw a character or whatever it was. And so it's kind of fun just like seeing their involvement in that stuff. And I really enjoy just kind of like bringing people into stuff like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. They're kind of like art directors you actually don't mind because it's all
yeah,
for fun.
for sure. Yeah. You're like, all right, let's do it. And
Yeah.
I honestly, I feel like I am kind of a weird one in that is that like I actually do like drawing and illustrating and designing like with an audience. Like I actually do think it's kind of fun. Like I do that a lot with even with my work stuff that I do. Like I'll sit down with people and be like, they'll have an idea. I'm like, all right, let's sit and do it together. And so I know a lot of people don't enjoy that stuff, but I kind of do. And I think it's like kind of cool to like be with other people kind of doing it. And so I've
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
That is cool. Um, have you ever gone to, oh, what is it called? They give like two people a prompt up on stage and they like design in front of the audience, and then like at the end everyone votes on which one they like better. It's not like the live drawing like at Creative South. It was I
Right.
was at a How design conference in Chicago, and Shutterstock put this event on, and
That's
like you had
cool.
access to all like the Shutterstock library, and like had to deliver on the prompt, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fun. I have not done that, but I would be super down. Like I feel like I would rather do that than like the actual drawing like at Creative South or something because I'm like I I'm not super confident in my like drawing physical drawing skills, but like digitally doing something, I'm like, oh yeah, let's do it. That'd be fun.
Yeah. The size and scale of a canvas, that size that they use at Creative South,
Yeah.
for the ink wars, to the confidence to put the ink on the canvas,
Yeah.
I would just be terrified. I'd be like, no, I already screwed up.
I know. They've done years where they don't even give you a pencil either, and it's like, oh man, how are you supposed to just like jump straight in there? It's
Yeah.
so funny.
That's a whole huge skill.
I know. Those are so fun to watch people just like do that. Though it's like I don't know how they do that. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to chat with you about is your weekly bolt. So usually about once a week you hop on Instagram stories and you record a little video talking to folks, usually while you're walking
Yeah.
outside somewhere. Um, Talk to me about how that started, and yeah, like what drives you to continue to do it.
um, I honestly I don't even know exactly like what got me there, but like I hit a certain point and I was like obviously videos like become such a big thing and stuff, and I've always been like pretty strong on like I don't care about like doing video. Um, like I've been interested in it at times, but I'm like not trying to just do it because it's better for the algorithm or whatever it is. And so um I kind of like was getting to this point where I wanted to like I was thinking about like maybe like reposting things and just like doing something fun with that or whatever. And then I was like, what if I just like jump on and start sharing about it on video? And like that seemed like kind of like a cool like natural way to do it. And so I of course wanted to like kind of like brand it out as a thing and like make it like a series. Like I love doing that even with like illustration stuff or whatever. I'm like I tend to just like I think that's why I like Inktober. It's like I like to do something like as like a series and like a whole collection of things. But the weekly bolt just kind of became like the name for it, and I kind of pulled that because like a bolt is like in reference to like lightning or arrows. If you kind of like dig in a little bit and research that, which I did, and so I thought that was kind of cool that it was like still a reference to lightning and arrows as well, and so like that was kind of like a fun little tie-in. But I started just like doing it because I was partially like I wanted to just get better at like being on camera. And like if you go back and watch my first video, it's like embarrassing, but it like it's like kind of cool seeing the progress that I've made over a couple of years of doing that. And it's kind of cool also that that's like the most consistent thing that I do at this point. Um, and ultimately my goal with it is just to like share a little peek into what I got going on. But then also it's like there's kind of like this like two-tier thing. It's either like a check-in on my week or whatever, or it's just like a chance for me to like highlight another artist or designer, whoever, and just kind of like share about someone else and what they're doing, which I like absolutely love doing that. I love like collaborating with people and just appreciating what people do because I know like I love what I do and like I know other people love what they do and it's cool to just like have someone like notice what you're doing or something. And so I definitely like to just kind of like be that for other people and it's kind of cool to just like try and give them something to like some little props through like whatever I'm doing. So It's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I love that because I feel like a lot of times the big names get a lot more of the, "Oh, did you see what so and so did?"
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
just to
totally.
be like, yeah, just celebrating the things that like all creators are doing or people that you gotten to know, um, is a really, really cool thing. Do you feel like that has increased or developed more as your kids have grown up? Um, like this awareness of how much power that affirmation has.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I legitimately am like super like impressed at like what my son draws and things like that. Like he'll do something, I'm like, dude, that is so cool. Like, and I like to like definitely pour into that with him, just because I can tell he's into it, and I'm into it too. It's not just a show. I'm like, I definitely am like trying to like pump him up and let him know that I like appreciate what he's doing, and um, that I think he like actually is talented and stuff. Because like I think that goes a long way for people just to like to know that someone like sees what they're doing. So
Yeah. Do you have people in your life that modeled that for you that like you picked it up from, or is it actually the flip side of that is like it was lacking and so you're like, "No, I wish there was more of this in my life and so I'm going to be that person."
I definitely don't feel like that was like lacking. Like if nothing else, like my parents definitely like I feel like poured into me a ton. They've always like supported me like crazy, which is definitely very cool. Like I super appreciate them, and I feel like I like some people, like get it, uh, get the like, oh, you want to be an artist, like sort of thing, and I never felt that. It just was like, yeah, I'd definitely do that. It's cool. Like, and so I've kind of tried to be that way, like with my kids too, like, and not just in like a way like of like, oh, like trying to push them towards art or something, but like whatever they want to do, like I want to support what they're trying to do because like it's kind of cool to just see like your kids get interested in something and just like I want to like try and develop that interest or whatever it might be. And so I definitely really enjoy that. And I did have it, and I don't know, maybe it's just like I have enjoyed that from my parents and family and whoever else, and then it's just kind of nice to like pass that along to others.
Yeah. What is the most bizarre thing one of your kids has been interested in that you've had to like learn all about because you were not?
Dude, that's hard. I don't know. I mean, it is crazy. Right now, my son's super into like Minecraft. I have played a tiny bit of Minecraft, like with my nieces and nephews at like years ago at some point, and then I've played like a little bit with my son too. But to me, it's crazy how much he knows about it. With like, I'm like, you've barely even played this thing. Like he like literally just got it for his birthday in like September last year, and but he's like watched a ton of like YouTube videos and this and that about different stuff, and so like just like crazy the knowledge you pick up along the way, like when you're interested in something like that. Which I totally see that in myself too, because I like will learn about stuff just when I'm interested, and so but it is crazy where I'm like he'll be like talking about something, and I'm like, okay, like how do you even know any of that? That's crazy, or like I don't know, just it's super fun though to see the interest and like um at least try to give it like a good shot at like learning what he's talking about or whatever. Um, so yeah, it's not like super weird, I guess, but it definitely is like just his amount of knowledge is like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a educational school alternative, I'll call it, called the Acton Academy. And if you look it up online, it's they've got schools around the country, but it's based on this book. And really their whole premise is like if we can get kids interested in the things, then learning is not the issue because we
Mhm.
just have to present it in such a way that like actually gives them real world value. So like someone might hate math at a traditional school, but they might love it at this type of place because it's like applied math and they're actually using it and learning it to like get somewhere else. And it's so fascinating to me that like I actually think everyone loves to learn, but they have to have an interest in the thing. And so um I just feel like that's a really good example of like, okay, he got into Minecraft and like he wanted to learn everything he could so that he could, you know, accomplish what he wanted to within the game. So that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
totally. And honestly, that's kind of how I feel about like school in general a little bit. Like even with like college, like I went to college and there's classes that I just had to take that weren't super interesting, but like you just had to do it. And then there's stuff that like I ended up just like my schedule, the way it worked out, I had to take extra classes that I didn't necessarily need, but it was kind of cool because it opened me up to like all these classes that I was actually interested in. And so like I got a ton of extra like random knowledge and like for me I leaned into like music classes and like just did a lot of extra stuff with that just because I had to get extra units or whatever it was. And so I ended up like being actually super stoked about taking those classes. Like even though they weren't the ones that like were doing anything for my degree in the end or whatever, it was like actually like super fun and just like was cool. It's kind of like leaning into that stuff.
That's cool. As we wrap up here, I want to ask you two more questions. The first one is, as a dad, what has been your greatest joy?
Oh man, there's so many, honestly. But I think I would have to say seeing kind of what we've been talking about, seeing my kids like get interested in something and like just trying myself to like lean into that. So like whether it's like, you know, my son playing Legos or my daughter right now is like she like hops all over the place. Like every month there's like a different thing, but like the last few months has been like, all right, she's like super into like Winnie the Pooh, or she'll be into like right now she's been like obsessed with Jungle Book, and like there's just like random things that kind of come up, but like it's super fun to then like find a way to like incorporate that in my life, something that they're interested in, and kind of like join them in the thing that they're like really into. And so I've had like a ton of joy through that. Like it's been fun to like try and share those experiences with them.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then the other question is, as a dad, what has been your biggest learning?
Oh, again, so many things. Um, I think I would have to say, um, probably like putting myself and my stuff aside. Like that's like definitely been something that I'm sure I'm still like working through. Um, but like at times you just get kind of locked in your head of like, oh, I'm trying to do this or that or whatever. Um, and like there's been times in in the past like where I definitely have been like, I'm planning to do this thing, and then your kid comes in and starts talking to you or doing this thing or asking you to play or whatever it is, and then you kind of like you get sidetracked from what you're trying to do. And like so I think for me I've been definitely learning through that of like, okay, let me just set aside what I my plans for what I had to do tonight or whatever. And um not that I have to put off my plans always, but there's definitely like there's a time there's whenever the kids go to bed I can like jump back into something or whatever. But I definitely I've like tried to be better at that, because like just being on that track of like, okay, I this is the thing I want to do. um it just seems to always set you up for failure of like you're gonna get sidetracked from the thing that you're trying to do. But being open to those distractions and like and honestly even leaning into it and being like, cool, like I can't do that right now, but like let's do your thing and like let's just like actually spend some time together. And I always think about like people often talk about, like you're gonna miss it when it's gone and stuff. And so like I feel like I have this like foresight with that just through hearing other people talk about it so much, where I'm like, yeah, okay, let me just enjoy this moment while I have it right now. And so I definitely um did terrible with that early on with my kids, but I feel like I've definitely been getting better and learning how to like embrace that more. And so that's been a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, for sharing about your work and your family. If folks
Of course.
wanted to find you online, follow you, connect, anything like that, where can they go to do that?
Um, Honestly, the best place is probably Instagram, Lightning and Arrows on Instagram. Or you can definitely check out my website, lightningarrows.com. I have like a shop on there too, um, which right now needs to be updated a little bit, because I've been working on a lot of new products and stuff, and I just haven't like got them live yet. And so I'm definitely working on that. So that's definitely something that soon will be available. But you can always there's stuff up there so you can check it out. Um, but hopefully in the near future there will be some updates coming in. So
Sweet. Well, awesome. Thank you again for coming on.
yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.